They're doing a thing. Something's happening. This is the League reveal for Siege of the Atlas. I'll make myself real small. Conquerors of the Atlas. That's a good one. Gosh, that was 2019? That was 3 years ago? When Echoes of the Atlas, they added Maven. Maven is so good. That whole thing was such good.
Wilson from Grinding Gear Games. Thank you for joining us as we unveil Path of Exile's next big expansion, Siege of the Atlas. Since the Atlas of Worlds was introduced in 2016, we have released 3 large endgame expansions, each evolving Path of Exile's endgame in a different way. Today, I am proud to present our 4th endgame expansion, which launches on PC and Mac on February 4th and on Xbox and PlayStation on February 9th.
Next
Twitch
week.
drops are enabled for today's live stream, so make sure you follow the instructions below to link your account and be eligible to earn the Wasteland Wings.
Get your Wasteland Wings if you ain't got them.
You in today's live stream, so I'm going to cover a lot of ground quickly. We'll start with a trailer for Siege of the Atlas, and then dive into learning about the pinnacle bosses you'll face as you explore the new Atlas of Worlds. We'll then talk about the new way you customize your Atlas experience. Rewards are next, with a focus on both the new itemization and crafting possibilities for endgame items, and the new unique and currency items you can earn by defeating the pinnacle bosses. Then we'll cover changes to how the Atlas works with its new game systems, before revealing the Arch-Nemesis Challenge League, which launches alongside Siege of the Atlas. After a summary of what game balance changes we're making in this expansion, we'll have a Q&A session where Ziggy D asks me questions from the community. Finally, we'll post the full patch notes as soon as the live stream ends.
Nice.
Let's check out the trailer for Siege of the Atlas.
Here we go, here we go! Here we go!
Cirrus is dead.
Oh shit.
Zana has chosen exile. But the Atlas of Worlds remains a beacon for eldritch horrors. We imprisoned the Elder. We placated the Maven. We've been preparing for the arrival of another. But we never expected Thor.
Oh!
They embody insatiable hunger, crushing darkness, searing flame, merciless wrath.
Four of them.
If we don't stop them, they will consume everything. This is a war for our very existence.
Those new skills. Pinnacle bosses. Yo, that looks sick. Atlas wide peasantry? What? I don't know what the Arch Nemesis League is. I don't know what this is about. Oh my god. Oh, good lord.
They are here. Stand with us, or we will all
We're getting
perish.
4 new bosses? Yo, this looks dope! I want to see all those new skills.
The
I saw
events
some
in
new shit
Siege
in
of the
there.
Atlas take place after the defeat of Cirrus. With Zana leaving to pursue her own agenda, Commander Carrick has taken responsibility for defending the Atlas and Rayclust against whatever eldritch horrors might arrive. Because Oriath was decimated by both Katava and then Cirrus, Carrick has moved several map devices to an isolated island in the Kurui archipelago and has established a militia in order to prevent another event like the Cirrus incident. In this expansion, you will join Carrick's militia and will be asked to scout the front lines of the Atlas for threats. After encountering the Maven, you will learn that two more eldritch horrors like her or the Elder are on their way to the Atlas. Unlike her though, their intentions are driven by the need to consume absolutely everything they encounter. You must learn what you can do about these entities and attempt to prevent the existential threats they pose to Rayclust.
Oh, the map he has on there is the Atlas.
In Siege of the Atlas, the two new eldritch horrors are the Searing Exarch and the Eater of Worlds. These are similar to other pinnacle Atlas bosses of the past, such as the Elder, the Shaper, the Maven, and Cirrus. You will hunt down these two bosses and their sub-bosses, the Black Star and the Infinite Hunger. You will be able to pursue both eldritch horrors at the same time, but you can choose which you are pursuing on a map-by-map basis. In mid-tier maps, you'll randomly encounter the influence of either the Searing Exarch or the Eater of Worlds. The Maven understands the threat that these eldritch horrors pose to her plans. She will modify your map device so that when entering maps, you can choose to add either the influence of the Maven or any eldritch horror you have encountered. As you run subsequent maps influenced by the Searing Exarch or the Eater of Worlds, the amount of influence monsters in those maps increases as that eldritch horror gets closer to you. Eventually, you'll encounter either the Black Star or the Infinite Hunger, one of the sub-bosses. You must defeat that boss in order to continue progressing closer to the horror you are pursuing. These bosses have exclusive new unique items in their drop pools.
Nice.
You're likely to have encountered the influence of both horrors by this point and can choose which one you're pursuing in each map. Finally, in the highest tiers of maps, you will encounter the Searing Exarch or the Eater of Worlds themselves.
Absence of symmetry and harmony.
Extremely difficult foes. They can drop their own exclusive new unique items.
That's the
eldritch
stuff.
currency items, which we'll describe later in the livestream. Once you have slain the Searing Exarch or the Eater of Worlds once, you can then farm them. In order to do so, you must complete a series of tier 14 or above maps with that eldritch horror's influence applied. You'll eventually find a key that allows you to challenge the Black Star or the Infinite Hunger again. As this key to the fight is tradable, it's not a strict requirement that you slay this first boss, but the item rewards will strongly encourage you to do so. After continuing to farm tier 14 or higher horror-influenced maps, you will receive another tradable key to fight the Searing Exarch or the Eater of Worlds, giving you another shot at their exclusive rewards. The keys to the farmable versions of these bosses can be rolled like regular maps, but with their own mod pool. This allows you to control the difficulty and rewards even further. Earlier, I mentioned that maps can be influenced by the Searing Exarch or the Eater of Worlds. Before we move on, I wanted to go into more detail about what that actually means. In influenced maps, as you defeat enemies, altars themed around the Searing Exarch or the Eater of Worlds occasionally appear where you kill those enemies. These altars give you the choice between two options that can either modify your character, influenced monsters, or the boss of the map by increasing rewards but also increasing difficulty. You can encounter multiple altars per area, so sometimes you can drastically affect the difficulty and rewards of a map as you play through it. It's also
that's
fine
cool.
to ignore it and choose not to increase the difficulty and reward of the map if you feel that it's already challenging enough. An example of a modification is altering the map boss so that all of its damage shocks, but also causing it to drop an additional eldritch currency item as a reward. We'll explain what these new currency items do later in the livestream.
It's a lesser eat of the words
In the
plus
last
something
iteration
on.
of the Atlas, you needed to use watchstones to both unlock new maps and raise the level of maps across your Atlas. This required grinding conquerors and managing the optimal placement of 16 different watchstones.
Yeah, it was a little
In
tedious.
Siege of the Atlas, we've removed watchstones and have restored the hidden maps back to the base Atlas so they don't have to be unlocked over time. We've added much of the power from craftable watchstones to Atlas passives so that you can still access the benefits you're used to without the busy work of managing watchstones.
Oh, that's neat.
Despite the era of watchstones being over, we do really like the ability to raise the tier of maps on your Atlas, so that eventually all of them are tier 16. To this end, we have introduced void stones. You can earn up to 4 of these one each from the Uber Elder, the Maven, the Searing Exarch, and the Eater of Worlds.
Okay.
Placing Void Stones on your Atlas will raise the tier of all of its maps, eventually making them uniformly tier 16.
Oh.
In Siege of the Atlas, we removed the concept of Atlas regions entirely. This means that we're saying goodbye to regional Atlas passive trees and hello to a single gigantic Atlas passive tree.
Jesus fucking Christ, they added a second.
Good old Path of Exile. This new tree has over 600 passives available to choose from, and you can earn 117 Atlas passive skill points by completing your Atlas. Each different map you complete the bonus objective of grants you 1 skill point.
Oh,
You can also
okay.
earn extra ones by completing the Maven's multi-boss fights. Whenever you allocate an Atlas passive skill, its stats apply to every map you run anywhere on the Atlas. Also, because it's much faster to complete earlier maps on the Atlas, your Atlas point acquisition is pretty front-loaded, letting you quickly establish an Atlas layout that helps you find and profit from your favorite content. We've integrated some skills from past regional Atlas trees and have created
So
several
good.
new ones, like Secret Operations, which turns some of the strongboxes you encounter into a new type of strongbox that drops scarabs.
Oh,
Corrupted
okay.
Gaze causes Abyssal Jewels to sometimes drop Corrupted with 5 or 6 modifiers rather than a typical 4.
Oh, wow.
Ghastly Devotion guarantees that areas that contain ritual altars will always contain 4 altars. Having one massive Atlas string means that you can deeply specialize in certain types of content without being limited to what was available in a specific region. You can increase how often you encounter your favorite content and can adjust how challenging and rewarding that content is. The
Okay.
removal of Atlas regions means that you have more freedom to run the maps you like without being forced into regions of the Atlas that have passives that affect the content you wanted to play. The topic of map drops is also
Oh,
important.
God, I love that.
Powerful characters are capable of playing very juiced maps, which results in them finding a lot of items, including more maps. Often, they get more maps than they actually need. Weaker characters have to be more careful with what mods they add to their maps, and hence find fewer maps. This new Atlas tree lets you choose how much you want to invest in the map tier upgrade that used to be the Atlas completion bonus, which means that powerful characters who don't need extra maps can instead focus those points on improving the rewards from content they play. On the other hand, weaker characters can invest in finding better maps, and can then respec this later on once they're finding a surplus. We'll make the full tree available next week so that you can start planning before Siege of the Atlas launches.
Oh, man.
Every large Path of Exile
I
expansion
love
needs
that.
a new way to create the most powerful items in the game. Siege of the Atlas introduces a new endgame item mechanic called Eldritch Implicit Modifiers. A problem we had with the old Shaper, Elder, and Conqueror influence system was that while the items were extremely powerful, they had to be crafted using highly specialized and complicated methods. A regular influenced item you found on the ground usually wasn't of much value, unless it was a certain base type at a specific item limit. Influenced items were generally not that useful in early, mid, or even most high-end maps, as they were basically a post-endgame feature. Our new system of Eldritch Implicits allows you to apply Eldritch mods to already good items that you have, so that you have a lot more freedom to choose how you
Those are
create
good.
the best items. You can also start interacting with Eldritch Implicits much earlier in your mapping experience. As you know, Path of Exile items can have an implicit mod that either comes built into the item based on what type it is, or can be modified with systems such as Vile Corruption. Eldritch Implicits replace existing implicit mods, but with a twist. An item is allowed to have one Eldritch Implicit from the Searing Exarch and one from the Eater of Worlds at the same time. These implicits have many different tiers and several ways to interact with them. While
Okay.
in Siege of the Atlas, you may find some new currency items, Eldritch Ember and Eldritch Echo, corresponding to the Searing Exarch and the Eater of Worlds respectively. These currency items can be applied to gloves, helmets, body armors, or boots, and overwrite the item's regular implicit mods with new ones from 2 special pools of powerful modifiers. As I mentioned before, an item can have both a Searing Exarch implicit and an Eater of Worlds implicit at the same time.
Oh, wow.
Applying the same type of orb multiple times will overwrite the appropriate mod with a new random one. These gloves have a single
that's so
Eldritch
fun.
implicit mod which grants you the ability to gain rage on hit, rate limited by a cooldown.
Yeah.
There are 2 Eldritch implicit mods on this helmet. The first one simply grants some added fire damage with spells. The second implicit causes enemies within a radius near you to be unable to regenerate life.
Man, this is
Each mod has
so
6
good.
tiers of power. The first 4 tiers come from the 4 versions of the Eldritch Ember and Echo currency items, while the highest 2 tiers can only be upgraded to with a special item we'll explain soon. The first tier of Eldritch Ember or Echo drops on all maps and means that any important build-enabling mods are available without having to complete the entire atlas. The second and third tiers come from exploring maps influenced by the Eldritch Horrors, and the fourth tier drops from the Searing Exarch or the Eater of Worlds themselves.
Okay.
You may be wondering how you get access to the 5th and 6th tiers. This requires some luck and planning. The Maven and her encounters have a chance to drop the Orb of Conflict. When used on an item with 2 Eldritch Implicits, the Orb of Conflict lowers the tier of one implicit mod and increases the tier of the other. This allows you to manipulate the balance between the 2 types of implicits.
Oh, okay.
To have a tier 6 and a tier 4 mod at the same time. In order to achieve this, you'd want to apply the highest Eldritch Ember or Eldritch Echo over and over until you have a tier 4 modifier that you want. Then use Orbs of Conflict to try to get it to tier 6 before using more Ember and Echo to lock in the tier 4 mod of the other type that you're looking for. We have made sure that the power of these modifiers is available earlier in maps so that you get access to them when you need them, rather than after you need them. Also, none of the new implicit mods have item level restrictions that prevent them from being applied to an item. There are also conditional versions of Eldritch implicit mods that are only enabled when specific types of enemies are in your presence.
Oh, wow.
Power as the conditions are more restricted. These conditional mods are designed for players who feel that they have sufficient clear speed for easier monsters and want to specialize in being even more effective against the really tough bosses where it matters.
That's pretty cool.
Items
I
with
like that.
Eldritch Implicits can also have a property of being dominated by one of the Eldritch Horrors. If an item has a higher tier Searing Exarch mod, then it is considered dominated by the Searing Exarch. Conversely, if the mod for the Eater of Worlds is higher tier, then it is considered dominated by the Eater of Worlds.
Okay.
Domination matters for 3 new currency items we're introducing.
Oh, it's
The
these.
Eldritch Chaos Orb will reroll the prefixes of an item if it is dominated by the Searing Exarch, or the suffixes if the item is dominated by the Eater of Worlds. The same is true for the Eldritch Exalted Orb and the Eldritch Orb of Annulment, which add or
my
remove
God, my
a
brain.
suffix depending on which horror dominates the item.
That was the annulment orb.
These
That's
very
what it was.
rare currency items give you a large degree of control over your endgame rare item crafting if you're able to manipulate the Eldritch Implicits correctly. It's important to note that you can't apply Eldritch Implicit mods to influenced items. By that, I mean items that have the old type of Shaper, Elder, or Conqueror influence. The Siege of the Atlas expansion contains a whole roster of new unique items.
More new toys.
From the 4 new Atlas bosses we have introduced.
Okay. What do we got?
All of these are powerful uniques, and we'll show you 6 of them today. The Ashes of the Stars Onyx Amulet increases the level of all of your skill gems.
What?
Makes them an additional 20% quality. It also improves the reservation efficiency of your skills, and lets you level all of your gems faster, which is really useful for gems such as Empower and Enlighten.
Plus 19 to
The big
quality?
boost to quality is very valuable with some alternate quality gems, as well as
Plus
certain
1
tools
all
like
skill
crystals.
gems? What?
The Dissolution of the Flesh prismatic jewel changes the way that you interact with incoming damage. While you have this jewel equipped, damage is taken in the form of a temporary reservation to your life pool. If you reserve 100% of your life, you die. This allows you to ignore life recovery completely, since the actual amount of life you have left is irrelevant as long as you manage the timing of your life reservation. The Polaric Devastation
These are some big brain items.
Covered in Frost, and gives you another way to apply the existing Covered in Ash debuff. This is a solid ring for anyone specializing in either fire or cold damage. In a similar vein to Covered in Ash, Covered in Frost causes the target to take 20% increased cold damage and lowers their critical strike chance.
Yo. Oh, and lowers the critical strike chance.
Spiked gloves have a new debuff called Corrosion, which you can stack up on enemies to remove their armor and evasion. This is not only a great way to reduce their physical damage reduction, but the gloves also have an additional bonus that applies when you have stripped away all of the enemy's armor or evasion. We
Yo.
also introduced
Those are super cool.
very rare aspirational unique jewels, Forbidden Flame and Forbidden Flesh. Each of these jewels drops from one of the 2 new Pinnacle Atlas bosses.
So I'll never see 'em.
Unique in that they must work together to unlock their potential. They require
Oh.
the user of the jewel to be a specific class, and they roll with a modifier that specifies a random ascendancy skill from one of the ascendancies of that class. If you are able to equip both a Forbidden Flame and a Forbidden Flesh jewel to specify the same skill, and if you meet the class requirement, then you will be granted that ascendancy skill. For example, if you're a Deadeye and find a Forbidden Flame jewel that specifies the Master Surgeon skill from the Pathfinder class, then upon finding and equipping a matching Forbidden Flesh jewel, you will gain the Master Surgeon skill. These jewels open up many new build possibilities for very late endgame characters.
What the fuck? Oh, I love
In the
that.
old Atlas, there were 3 favored map slots available to unlock in each region.
Yeah.
Now that regions have been removed, favored map slots can be
Oh, that's the
unlocked
bar on
by
the
meeting
left.
various objectives like completing a tier 16 map or defeating an Elder Guardian. There are 12 favored map slots that can be unlocked. These now apply to all map drops on the Atlas, rather than affecting map drops in just one region. Each slot provides a 10 times multiplier to how frequently its corresponding map drops, relative to other maps. You can select 12 different maps as your favorite maps, or you can put the same map type in all 12 slots for a massive 120 times boost to its occurrence in your drop pool. This is particularly powerful once you've socketed all 4 void stones into your Atlas.
Yeah.
All of your maps tier 16, and with a 120 times multiplier applied to a specific map.
Oh my god.
In this case, the specific map you have chosen will constitute over 50% of all tier 16 map drops. Sextants can be found from tier 14 onwards and are applied to void stones. When you use one on a void stone, it affects your whole Atlas. Because void stones come from the highest tier content, we've removed simple sextants and prime sextants, as they can no longer be used when you would typically acquire them. We've added the mods from these sextants to the pool of mods that awakened sextants have. Because this dilutes the pool of mods that awakened sextants can roll, we've increased the frequency at which you acquire awakened sextants. Your existing simple and prime sextants will be converted to awakened sextants at the launch of Siege of the Atlas. We have made no changes to elevated sextants. With the new Atlas system as context, we've done a balance past all sextant mods. This resulted in a slight reduction to the amount of content or monsters that a given sextant mod introduces to an area. We've removed the Nemesis Monsters Drop 3 additional currency items mod, both because it's busted, and because it's incompatible with our future plans for the Arch Nemesis League content. We've also added a whole bunch of new sextant modifiers. The general intention behind these new mods is they give a strong benefit while adding extra difficulty, or reward players for specializing into having other leagues present in an area. For example, there's a sextant mod that ensures that all breaches in an area belong to Chayula. So if you can maximize the number of breaches through scarabs, map device modifiers, the Atlas passive tree, or other sextants, then you've got a whole bunch of valuable Chayula breaches in that map. With the removal of watchstones, players would have lost the ability to swap in and out watchstones with different sextant modifiers on them depending on which maps they were running. We like the strategic use of sextants, so we've reintroduced this behavior with a new currency item called the Surveyor's Compass. This can be applied to a void stone with a sextant mod in it to itemize that sextant mod for later use or trade. This currency item drops periodically and is also sold by Kirak for 1 Chaos Orb, similar to how Icar sells Mystery Orbs. There's no limit on how many you can purchase.
Okay, so if you get one that's good, but you don't want to run it right then, you can just store it on that.
What's happening to her Atlas missions? Well, Kirak is taking over from her, but it works a little differently now. Kirak has assumed the position of commander, and he has important missions for you to carry out in the Atlas. You open these missions at your map device and can run them just like before. However, you won't encounter Kirak inside a map, and you won't be able to apply Kirak objectives to a map itself. Because of this, we have raised the chance that you receive a Kirak Atlas objective when you defeat a map boss. Previously, Zana's missions had completion objectives, but with the removal of the favor system, this stopped mattering. Instead of focusing on completion, Kirak missions now focus more on rewards, and so their purpose is to provide you with additional content or extra item drops.
Fuck yeah, more rewards.
Instead of your free daily mission being based on the last map you've completed, it's now based on the highest tier map you've completed in this current league. For example, if you completed a tier 16 map, your daily missions will always be high tier maps. Kirak missions can now include additional content like Conquerors, Ritual Encounters, Expedition Encounters, and even Monstrous Treasure, the former prophecy that makes an area contain 24 to 36 additional strongboxes with no natural monster inhabitants. Kirak now sells you maps, much like Zana did in the past, except there is now a wider variety of outcomes with variance on the prices, so you should probably go and check what he's selling more frequently in case there's a good deal. The items in the window are re-rolled under the same conditions as Zana's previous shop. Kirak can sell maps that come with implicit mods enabling various content, for example, a map that always has a Legion encounter, or maps that have varying degrees of deliriousness on them. As you play through maps, you'll occasionally find Atlas scouting reports, essentially communication about important missions from other people who scouted the Atlas and
this one pre-stone mission, or
these items can be used like a currency item to
oh,
reroll
that's so
cool.
cool.
Maps that Kirak is offering you. These new maps have a different set of mission outcomes that includes valuable ones like guaranteeing a unique map, having all maps be corrupted, always including a Shaper Guardian, Elder Guardian, or Conqueror, having only uncompleted maps available, or adding a breach stone to the selection. The value here is not only the reroll of what is offered to you, but also the guarantee of one or more high-value missions.
Yeah,
On the
okay.
Atlas passive tree, you can specialize into finding more Atlas scouting reports or unlocking new types that can drop.
Fucking course you can.
Kirik also sells the aforementioned Surveyor's Compass used to itemize sextant mods, as well as everything else Zana previously sold, like specific divination cards. Despite them not being part of the core Atlas experience anymore, it's still possible to fight Cirrus and the Conquerors, so take advantage of their influence and unique item rewards. Tier 14 or higher map bosses now have a chance to drop maps influenced by the Shaper, the Elder, or a random Conqueror. You can also purchase these maps from Kirik. When you enter the map, you'll be met with hordes of influence monsters that can drop influenced items. Upon defeating the map boss, a portal will open to the Conqueror's arena. Upon death, the Conqueror will drop a fragment. Each Conqueror has their own fragment. Combine all 4 fragments in your map device to open a set of portals to the Cirrus encounter.
Okay.
As it's now harder to get influenced items, we've moved plus level gem modifiers into the global mod pool for amulets. So it's now possible to get the powerful plus 2 levels to certain gems without having to use influenced amulets.
Yo.
Now that Cirrus and the Conquerors are no longer core
That's
parts of
super
Atlas
good.
gameplay, they will not drop awakened gems. These gems can now drop from Maven invitations. Arch Nemesis is a challenge league that reinvigorates fights with rare monsters. It introduces around 60 new monster mods and allows you to customize your rare boss fights to control your level of risk and reward. These mods can be combined in over 35 recipes to create new, more powerful and rewarding mods. As you play through the league, you'll discover more recipes and learn how to best utilize them to get the most valuable rewards. When you slay regular rare and magic monsters in the Arch Nemesis League, they sometimes drop an itemized version of a new Arch Nemesis monster modifier. You store these in a dedicated inventory panel so they don't clutter your regular inventory. Over the course of each area you play, you'll encounter 4 monsters that are frozen in place, petrified, and bound to an Arch Nemesis statue. When you find such a monster, you can free it by empowering it with an Arch Nemesis mod. If you're able to successfully defeat the empowered monster, then you will receive the fixed reward that corresponds to that modifier. The trick that makes this league awesome is the 4 petrified monsters per area. You see, the mods you apply will accumulate as you play through the area. When you empower your second monster,
They add up.
This results in a fight that has twice as many dangerous mods and twice as many rewards. Even though you receive the reward from the first mod when you kill the first petrified monster, you receive a second reward of that type when you kill the second petrified monster. The same applies to the third and fourth fights in the area as well.
Okay.
When you defeat the fourth monster, you'll have received the first reward 4 times, the second reward 3 times, and so on. Take care when picking what order you consume your mods so that you can maximize your rewards.
Okay, so the one you want most, you're gonna put in first.
More than half of the available mods are created by combining other mods together on the same monster. As an example of how this works, if you apply both Incendiary and Hasted to the same monster, then in addition to the rewards that these 2 mods grant, you will also receive an itemized Flamewalker mod upon killing the monster.
Oh, oh my god, there's crafting combos.
Monster later on to complete further recipes. These recipe mods yield substantially more dangerous encounters and have more valuable rewards. Even if you're not completing a recipe with your modifiers, you can still combine them to get some ridiculous combinations of rewards. For example, defeating an Innocence-touched enemy grants 3 currency rewards and converts all other rewards into currency. Defeating a mirror image enemy grants a divination card reward and rerolls all rewards 3 times, yielding the rarest result.
Oh, that's
Killing
gonna be
a Flame
currency.
Warrior enemy grants 3 weapon rewards. Killing
That's
a
3
Toxic
and more.
enemy grants a generic reward plus a gem reward. If you were to kill an enemy with all 4 modifiers, you get a total of 9 currency rewards, each rolled 3 times and dropping the best result.
Yo.
If you apply the mods in the order mentioned above, then as you kill each of the 4 monsters in the area, you'll receive the earlier rewards multiple times. The end result is the equivalent of getting 60 currency rewards and receiving the best 20 plus 3 regular currency rewards.
Yo.
This example, even the
That's
basic
nutty.
rewards that offer, say, 3 random weapons are really useful because you can combine them with reward conversion mods to take advantage of their high item counts. We're looking forward to seeing what other types of crazy ways you manage to combine your Arch Nemesis rewards. To prevent you having to backtrack, there are more than 4 possible locations where you may encounter petrified monsters in each area, but only the first 4 you encounter can be empowered and fought.
Oh, that's nice.
Arch Nemesis mods cannot be traded with other all the new Atlas content in this expansion, and it exceeded our expectations. The fights are fun, the rewards are punchy, and there are a lot of tough decisions about which reward combinations or recipes you can pursue. In Siege of the Atlas, our balance goal is to take two very common gameplay archetypes that struggle with endgame.
That seems like a solid league.
So that they're in a much better place compared to other builds. The ones we are targeting are hit damage bow characters and hand-casting spellcasters. If you haven't checked out the balance manifesto about these changes that we posted recently, I'd encourage you to read all about them in the patch notes that will be posted when the livestream ends. To be clear, this expansion does have a few of the usual nerfs to the most overperforming builds, but for the most part, the majority of balance changes are buffs.
They're using a lot of
hit damage bow builds and hand-casting spellcasters are
Glacial
significantly
Cascade.
more competitive. Alongside Siege of the Atlas, we're introducing two new types of stash tab, one for flasks and one for gems. A side effect of this is that you're able to set your regular tabs to have affinity for flasks or gems, regardless of whether you've purchased the new specialized tabs. The gem stash tab allows you to easily store and sort your collection of up to 500 skill and support gems.
Oh, so good.
By default, it displays all gems stored in the tab, but you can use one of the 4 categories at the top to filter between red, green, blue, and white gems. There's a drop-down that allows you to pick your preferred sorting method, such as current gem level, required level, or quality, to easily find whatever gem you're looking for. The Flask Stash tab allows you to store 500 flasks, and can be filtered to show life, mana,
Oh, it's so good. It's so good.
Change the sort order between item level, base type, and quality. This allows you to quickly find flasks of a certain type, potential flasks to vendor for glass blowers baubles, or high item level flasks for crafting.
Thank you, GGG.
Regardless of whether you purchase these new tabs, you'll still be able to set up affinities for gems or flasks on your existing stash tabs.
Regrettable
Alongside the launch of
purchases.
Siege of the Atlas, we are hosting a competitive event where players will race to be the first to kill a trio of bosses: the Maven, the Searing Exarch, and the Eater of Worlds. The event will take place in the hardcore solo self-found Arch Nemesis League. We have some interesting prizes in store for the winners. Keep an eye on the news next week for more details about how this event will work and what its prizes are. We're almost at the Q&A, but first I'd like to show you the new supporter packs we're releasing today to help fund development of future Path of Exile expansions.
Alright, chat. This is what your money's going towards.
And Emberkeep supporter packs.
I'm not blown away.
Each of which include points equivalent to the cost of the pack, plus many exclusive cosmetic microtransactions
Oh, I
like
do like
apparition
those.
effects, armor sets, weapon skins, Brawn badges, titles, and social frames.
I think I like the red one better.
The Worm series comes with an exclusive pet, and the Emberkeep series comes with an exclusive weapon effect.
Ooh,
These
that's
two
really
packs are
good.
in addition to the 2022 core packs that we released recently.
Oh,
Remember
that's
to
real
check
good.
those out if you haven't already.
Oh, that's also real good. I hadn't seen those yet.
That concludes the reveal portion of this live stream. Keep an eye on our news next week as we unveil more details about the Siege of the Atlas
Oh,
expansion and the
man.
Nemesis League. In the meantime, these reveals are already live on YouTube for you to link to your friends in case they miss the live stream. Please spread the word and join us as we explore the Atlas alongside you next week.
Let's...
It's now time for the Q&A. If you have
Alright,
any
so
questions
we're
about what
gonna...
we've shown you today, please get them ready because I'm about to be joined by Ziggy D as we answer your questions from Twitch chat. And after that, we'll be posting the full Path of Exile series.
Okay, so the patch notes are going to be posted right after the stream. So whenever they're done with the Q&A. But let's see. Let's see. Did they post? No, I want their actual. Okay, here it is. Let's see if they posted the reveals. No, I want their actual... official. There we go. Okay, so they posted the official trailer. Let's...
Cirrus is dead.
I wanted to go back and look at the skills that they're using on here.
Chosen exile.
Okay, because I definitely saw some icons that I'm not familiar with. So what is that? It's a person, and then it goes back, and they've got MNP. I don't know what that skill is. And then this one, what is that? What does he have on his queue there? Interesting. So, all right. I don't really see. Oh, my hair looks funny. Whatever. I don't really see they're putting in like a bunch of new skills. I think those are probably just in the game. I just don't know what they are. I just don't recognize the icons. I don't see them really putting in new skills, which is like usually the thing that I'm pretty stoked about. But this is a tremendous amount of new changes for the end game, and a lot of it looks like it's targeted at getting you like right when you get into maps, right when you finish leveling and you get to that end game, getting you a bunch of shit very quickly so that you can customize your play experience for like doing the content that you want to do, like right at the beginning. Now, of course, you'll be able to see a lot, be able to judge a lot better how well that's going to work out once we're playing it. But to a lesser extent, once they release that full Atlas passive tree. Because this giant tree... value. This giant tree is like, it's all well and good. You start at the bottom and presumably you probably work your way up, but I mean, I don't know if there's any reason to like beeline up there. Probably not. But yeah, it looks like there's tons of like good stuff on there. When they were showcasing like all of the passives and the other stuff, or like some of the specific passives, a lot of those seemed really good. Like that was really cool. I I gotta say I'm a little concerned for the new player experience. Somebody like first getting to endgame and like, but I guess by the time you've gotten to this Atlas passive tree, you've already like overcome the shock of looking at the skill tree, like the regular like character player skill tree. So once you've gotten over that shock, then like they just throw another one at you. But like this is all specifically at like targeting stuff and maps and like that kind of stuff. So it's not going to break your character to like put a point somewhere you don't want it. The thing that I didn't catch in here, if they said, was respecking these. So I'm a little curious. Is it just regret orbs, or is it going to be like a different type of currency to respect these, or what's the deal going to be? Because I can see a situation where you set your passive skill tree up in one way so that you optimize, like let's say you get all the stuff for like Legion and you run a bunch of like Legion scarabs and stuff and you do a bunch of like Legion 4-ways or whatever, and then like you run through your scarabs, you run through all of that stuff, and you're like, okay, cool, I'm done. I need to go farm I don't know, Ironheart missions or something. I'm gonna run through my Ironheart missions the next day. So then you go and completely respec your passive tree again, and then you have to go through and like, okay, what's the best way to do that? I gotta go over here and get this, and I gotta go over there. And that seems like that would be a little tedious. So I hope it's a little bit... I don't know, I kind of have mixed feelings about it, because I don't want them necessarily to be permanent, but having a like costly investment of like, yeah, you can respec it, but you probably don't want to. So like, decide the thing that you want to do a bunch, and not the thing that you feel like doing today, and kind of just stick with it a little bit, and then you can change it with a little bit of investment later. Like, I think that's probably better. I'm assuming that that's probably what they're doing. I don't know why they would do the first thing that I said, but, I mean, if it's a currency type, then you could just dump a bunch of it into it. Unless it's like really expensive, then I guess that would make it not worth it. But anyway, yeah, I like this. This looks super cool. Let's go to their announcements. Let's see. I tripled it. Okay, so we can just go through these. All right, so this is a new Keystone passive. So we talked about that one. That's pretty cool. Those are the mods. Those are the orbs. Now we know what those orbs do. So those let you alter the new influence implicit modifiers, which are super cool. That is the boss off of the fire guy. I don't remember his name. Destroyer of Worlds or something. The Burninator. Oh, okay. This was the other one. Sudden Dawn. Bloop. There we go. Increased ES, mana, chance for energy shield recharge to start when you kill an enemy, less recharge rate. So the recharge rate goes down, but there are certain effects that start when you trigger energy shield recharge. So that could be pretty useful. There's also let me pop this open real quick. There's this node that I've always wanted to use, but just never. There you go. Eternal Youth. Less life regen rate, less maximum total recovery from leech, but energy shield recharge instead applies to life. So that could be kind of neat. I don't know if you necessarily want to use that, but I mean, starting your life recharge, having life recharge, and then starting your life recharge, 12% chance when you kill an enemy. That'll keep chugging through them out. For Havoc, Unleash Pandemonium, for Pandemonious cards, neat. Let's farm that. That'd be good. They reworked the Dancing Dervish. I really like this item. I've done a build with it a couple of times. It's a pretty fun one. Triggers level 15 Dancing Dervishes on Rampage. Manifesting Dancing Dervishes disables both weapon slots. Die when Rampage ends. Melee hits count as Rampage kills. Oh, melee hits count as Rampage kills. Okay, that's kind of interesting. So you could build them with like minion attack speed, like some other stuff, and you can just stack your Rampage up like really quickly. Okay. That's interesting. I don't know if that's going to be like useful or good, but it definitely seems cool. You could do like a Rampage summoner, and like that's your weapon, and it's the Dancing Dervishes, or not summoner, necromancer. Forbidden Shackle. I actually don't remember what this does. Let's see. Oh, it's this thing. Sakuna gems are supported by a random support gem. Oh. Sakuna gems are supported by 2 random support gems. That's right. Atlas in just a week. In the meantime, here's another one. Crystallize Omniscience. Modifiers to attributes. Okay, I saw this one on Twitter. Modifiers to attributes instead apply to Omniscience. +1% to all elemental resistances per 10 Omniscience. Penetrate 1% elemental resistances per 10 Omniscience. And attribute requirements can be satisfied by 23% of Omniscience. So it changes your attribute modifiers, not your base stats, but your attribute modifiers. So any like +5% to stats, or like all of that kind of stuff, into Omniscience. And then probably like these. So like plus 12 to all attributes. That's going to be an attribute modifier. So like that would automatically give you 12 omniscience, right? And then that 12 omniscience would give you plus 1 to your elemental resistances, and then plus 1 to elemental penetration. And then 23% of whatever your total omniscience is going to be how your attribute requirements are counted. So you're probably not going to be rolling Mjolnir with this thing. Oh, I'm in big camera mode. You probably can't even read that. Whoops. There we go. Sorry about that. Yeah, so this thing. You're probably not going to be rolling like Mjolnir or anything that's got like a really high stat requirement. That's probably not what you're going to be about. But, you know, it's an option. It's it looks really cool. It looks really cool. So you can take those stat stacking builds where you get like 3,000 dexterity, and then boom, there's your resistances and there's your penetration. Which is fine because like those builds are like pretty damn expensive to begin with. So you just take that and then you get this, and then you substitute your like added based on dexterity or whatever out for like some more traditional scaling, and then you have this being like a shitload of penetration and your resistances. It's kind of neat. I mean, what I just said right there might not work. Like there might be like a better way to do it, but it looks pretty cool. The Challenge League, the Arch Nemesis League, like looks pretty neat. That's a simple. I like what they did. It's a simple league mechanic. Yeah. So you just add modifiers to a couple of enemies, and like 4 times through a map, you just like, okay, I want to add this, and then all right, I'm gonna add this other one, and then I'm gonna add this different one. I'll be interested to see how often they drop, because it looked like you use 4 of them per map, so they're gonna have to be dropping like pretty heavily to keep up with like the use, so that you can do like all 4 every map. I'd say if you average, because like the loot doesn't really work out this way, but if you average like 6 of them per map, that'd be pretty good. You probably want to average 4 actually. Sometimes you get more, sometimes you get less, and then like that way your inventory doesn't eventually get like overfilled with them after, 20-30 hours played in the league. But yeah. I definitely like the idea, like being able to craft the different bonuses on them and say, okay, well, I want this bonus 4 times, I want this bonus 3 times, and then this one too, and then the final one I'm going to add is this one. Super good. I think they're right about like using like the weapon bonuses where it adds like 3 weapons as just like a multiplier to all of the other shit that you applied. I think you probably put that one on last most of the time, and then you like do the like currency conversion or whatever first, and then add like a bunch of quantity to it. And like the example that they gave, I think that's pretty neat. Cool. Third B ones for like jewelry or like scarabs or things like that. That'd be really cool. Yeah, I think that's actually going to be really fun. I think this is going to be a really fun league. I'm looking forward to this. I hope you guys are too. I'm not going to read all the way through the patch notes. If you want to read the patch notes, by all means, it's going to be a very long read. It always is. But yeah, figured to do a short little video going over, reacting to their stream and seeing all the new stuff, and then just talking about the new stuff we're getting. I'm super excited. Man. Oh, this is gonna be great. I'm so pumped. Yeah. So, um, Path of Exile, Siege of the Atlas, February 4th. February 4th. Um, I'll be there. I don't know if they'll be there right at launch because I have to check my work schedule, but I'll be there. Let's looks good. Looks good. Siege of the Atlas and then the League itself. They're like this is the new like global update. And then the League itself is Arch Nemesis, which might be one that we end up forgetting about. But Siege of the Atlas is the big update. It looks real good. I like the changes. I like the ability to get directly into the end game and just start getting points and start customizing stuff just for running maps. And you don't have to do complicated shit with watchstones, and you don't have to do like no, just go play the maps. You'll get the points. You put them on a tree. You know how to put points onto a tree. You've been doing it for 60 levels now. I like it. It's I think it's gonna be fun. I'm really looking forward to it, and I hope you guys join me February 4th for the League launch event. It's gonna be super fun, and yeah, cool. All right, well, have a great day, and